Meteorologist Corey Smith has your forecast, and Duncan Goldberg joins us in sports. WTAP News at 11 starts now.
Live from Studio A, this is WTAP News at 11.
Another state is seeing a big increase in hepatitis A outbreaks. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Phyllis Smith. Turning to the weather first, meteorologist Corey Smith joins us with the first look at our forecast. Corey, it seems like it's a drier day so far.
And that is correct. It seems like we've really dodged a lot of the heavier rain, although that doesn't mean that all of our viewing area has not dealt with flooding issues today. As we take a look at the high mark West Virginia cam, see things are quiet right now, although some rain might be moving back into the Parkersburg area. 68 degrees is our current temperature with humidity right around 93%. Now, like I said, we have had some flooding issues. Currently right now, Mason, Meigs, and Gallia County are under a flash flood warning. Other than that, the rest of the viewing area is under a flash flood watch, and that is until 2 a.m. It looks like we're really going to be in the clear, though, after this next round of rain moves through. It's very light. I don't see anything in the way of flooding issues to be an issue as we go later on. And later on in the show, I'll go over when we can dry things up and when you can expect the heat to return. Back to you.
Thank you, Corey. Ohio's health department is declaring a statewide outbreak of hepatitis A. State officials say Ohio has 79 hepatitis A cases so far this year, and that many of them are linked to a multi-state outbreak in neighboring states. The 79 cases are nearly twice as many than what was reported all of last year. Michigan, Indiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia also are dealing with a large number of hepatitis A cases. It's transmitted by oral contact with fecal matter. It attacks the liver and causes symptoms including abdominal pain, nausea, diarrhea, fever, and jaundice. A single vehicle crash last Friday in Washington County claims the life of a Waterford man. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says 23-year-old Tyzer Schilling died Thursday at Grant Medical Center in Columbus. The crash happened about 11:30 p.m. just east of Lowell Hill Road. Authorities say his vehicle went off Waterford Road and rolled over several times before landing on its top. Troopers say he was partially ejected from the car and wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He was taken by ambulance to Marietta Memorial Hospital and later flown to the hospital in Columbus. The Highway Patrol says alcohol and drugs are believed to be involved. The investigation is continuing. A two-vehicle accident in Pleasants County injures one person. It happened around 9:30 this morning at Oak Grove Extension and Calf Creek Road just outside Willow Island. The Pleasants County Sheriff's Office says a Toyota pickup truck went left of center and collided head-on with a Chevy Cruze. Deputies say the driver of the Cruze was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Deputies say the pickup driver was given a warning citation for driving left of center. The crash remains under investigation. All the people involved in a Parkersburg drug ring have now pleaded guilty. 3 of the nearly dozen people involved have been sentenced. They are Jennifer Benson, Bernard Spann, and Dennis Carter. The first 2 are from Parkersburg, while the last man is from Detroit. Benson is sentenced to nearly 6 years in prison. Spann is sentenced to 5 years. Carter is sentenced to 15.5 years behind bars. All were found guilty on heroin charges. The U.S. Attorney's Office says 8 other co-defendants will be sentenced in August. We've been following this bust since it first happened in November 2017. Law enforcement agencies worked together to bring down significant heroin distribution network operations in and around Parkersburg. Parkersburg police believe a man wanted on a sexual assault charge in Parkersburg has run off to Ohio. Chief Joseph Martin says they're looking for Craig Toon. He's 28 years old and from Cleveland. Officers say he allegedly sexually assaulted someone earlier this week at a home in Parkersburg. When they pinpointed him yesterday morning, they say he took off. Now they think he's in the Cleveland area. Authorities think he was picked up in a vehicle driven by another person that didn't know he was wanted by police.
There's no imminent immediate danger that's present for our local community, but if he does happen to come back, we would love for the community, if they do see him, or know that he is in Parkersburg or Wood County to let us know that he's here.
He's also wanted on an aggravated robbery charge out of Cleveland. The House of Representatives passes legislation to help fight the opioid crisis. It's the largest opioid legislative package in recent history. The bill passed overwhelmingly, 396 to 14. The legislation directs federal agencies to support recovery centers. It also asks that the National Institutes of Health develop non-addictive painkillers and to change how prescription pills are distributed. An element of the bill called Jesse's Law would require that medical records list a patient's addiction history. The measure is named after a young woman from Charleston named Jessie Grubb that died from a prescription opioid overdose. Her doctor was unaware of her previous 7-year addiction to opioids and prescribed her pain pills following hip surgery. The legislation now heads to the Senate. West Virginia legislators appear to be taking what seems to be a wait-and-see approach about putting a sales tax on online purchases. The U.S. Supreme Court Thursday ruled states could charge sales tax on purchases from online retailers like Amazon and eBay. Senator Donna Boley agrees an online tax in West Virginia would put those companies on more equal footing with local retailers whose customers have to pay state sales tax. But she isn't sure the legislature will take up the issue right away.
We've been studying this thing for years and years. There's been the desire to sort of equalize the online sales with the local sales. We'll have interim September, October, I believe November, that we could consider it. And then, of course, January, we start our session. But I doubt if anyone's going to be real anxious to jump on it right away.
Governor Jim Justice Thursday said he doesn't currently support an online tax, citing the improvement in the state's economy. He adds, however, it's an issue for the legislature to take up. And a high court ruling issued today says police need a search warrant if they want to collect information on criminal suspects' movements through their cell phone use. Before cell phones became common, police used to get this kind of information through telephone company records. Wood County Sheriff Steve Stevens, however, doesn't believe the ruling will greatly affect how his office tracks criminal activity.
Whenever we had a homicide where we pinged the perpetrator and we were able to track him through several counties before he was taken into custody, the Supreme Court is going to allow that, as my understanding after reading the opinion, that they're going to allow that to happen.
Sheriff Stevens also noted the ruling shouldn't affect how law enforcement tracks suspects involved in pursuits. The case the court ruled on was a case involving a string of robberies at an electronics store and stores in both Ohio and Michigan. Next week, Parkersburg's City Council will consider a first reading of an ordinance that would ban motorized bicycles in the city. Brandon Lewis has more about how one resident feels about that.
This bike means the world to me. It really does. And if they banned it, I can't ride it.
Calvin Kirby has used motorized bikes for the past 2 years.
It's really hard for me not to cry because it's helped me so much, you know. I've been blessed a second chance in life. I should be dead with the drug activity I'd done back in my past. And when I got recovery and I got this gave me my freedom one more time that I should have.
But that freedom could be taken away.
We've had a big influx. People all of a sudden deciding to put motors on their bicycles. And with that influx, there's been a real rapid increase in the amount of complaints that council members and the police department have received.
Currently, pocket bikes or mini bikes are prohibited from being used for transportation or recreational purposes in Parkersburg. Now the Parkersburg City Council is considering adding to that list.
Any motorized vehicle needs to follow the motorized laws of the state of West Virginia and the city of Parkersburg. It really comes down to a safety issue.
Next week, the council will consider a first reading of an ordinance that bans motor-driven or motor-assisted bikes. They're defined as bikes powered by gasoline motors and are not covered by state codes.
So this will just give a little more teeth to our police officers to allow them to do their job better.
But for some like Kirby, that's their only way to get around.
If they could, make it to where we got to have helmets. You know, if people don't wear a helmet, ticket them. If they don't stop for a stop sign, ticket them. You know, don't ruin it for the ones who are doing good. Don't ban them completely.
Brandon Lewis, WTAP News, Parkersburg.
A community college is working to bring balance to a male-dominated field. Currently, women represent almost half of the current workforce nationwide, but make up less than 13% of law enforcement agencies. Washington State Community College and the Washington County Sheriff's Office are partnering up to bring awareness to the opportunity of the career.
I've never personally had any issues with discrimination or sexual harassment. I have been, when I came into law enforcement from day one, and this is my, I think, 4th agency that I've worked for in law enforcement, and I've never had one issue. I've been accepted fully with open arms in every department that I've worked for, and I'm very grateful for that.
Organizers of the initiative believe that letting women know the potential opportunities for a career in law enforcement is the first step toward bringing more of a gender balance to the field. Fuel Your Passion is the theme of the Women in Leadership Conference at the Grand Point Conference Center in Vienna today. It provided a chance for women in the Mid-Ohio Valley to network with one another. It also gave them an opportunity to combine their skills and passions.
I really do think it's important to gather women together and see all the leaders we have in our community. The fact that we have 200 women here just speaks volumes of our community and how many leaders are women right here in the Mid-Ohio Valley.
I think it's critical that there's a proper balance between the males and females inside of an organization because their voices are unique and both are exceptionally valuable. And so we need to make sure that we have women who are capable of filling those leadership roles, and that's part of what today's about.
The Chamber of Commerce of the Mid-Ohio Valley hosted the event. It included keynote speakers and a panel discussion. And now it's time to reveal the WTAP Facebook Fan of the Week, sponsored by Superior Toyota Hyundai in Parkersburg. Congratulations to Nathan Long. You're the WTAP Facebook Fan of the Week. You've won 2 free movie tickets to Odyssey 7 Theaters in Marietta. To claim your movie tickets, visit Superior Toyota Hyundai on East 7th Street in Parkersburg. For your chance to win, click on the Contest tab at WTAP.com. Still ahead, after days of demanding action, Governor Jim Justice, this group is calling for him to be impeached. Their reasoning, next at 11.